it until
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Chris, IMTN Worldwide Radio, just 60 seconds away from getting started. Y'all stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? This is Chris on Around the ATL on IMTN Worldwide Radio. Good evening. It's the first day of September. We actually made it. Can't believe it. 646-652-4479 is the number if you'd like to call into the show tonight as we get everything up and running for hopefully a full month of Around the ATL. We'll see what happens. As we get started, of course, thanks to those who have been listening to the show and watching the show over the last few years, especially those who, of course, follow us on different social media pages and things of that nature, Twitter, Facebook primarily, Instagram obviously as well. Definitely Facebook groups helped us out a lot over the years, like New Pack City, Atlanta Hawks Nation, Atlanta Bird Gang, Back to Black, Atlanta Braves Fan Group, and many others, the Atlanta Dream basketball page as well. Appreciate y'all, Twitter and everybody. Tonight's show, of course, is brought to you by the Originative brand. They actually provided the shirt for me tonight, the New Pack City 5-year anniversary shirt. If you need to get some of your custom sports memorabilia, custom-made shirts for the sports teams, whether it be the Hawks, Braves, Falcons, anybody, make sure you hit up the Originative brand on Instagram. A couple of weeks ago, we actually had one of our callers win a shirt, courtesy of Around the ATL. He got a shirt from the Originative brand. Hopefully the next show, you'll be able to see it. I'll make sure I post a picture of it. And we have a special surprise, hopefully within the next week or so. Myself and my co-host will be debuting something live on the show, so be checking out that. Now, tonight we have a big show. We're going to do a full 2-hour show tonight. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to start first hour talking UGA, the Atlanta Dream, The Atlanta Braves, which they just finished their game tonight. We'll talk about that. Second hour that starts at 11 o'clock, we're going to talk Falcons. We're going to talk Atlanta United. We're going to talk some Atlanta Hawks. We know something else happened in the NBA today, so I guess we got to throw that in there last minute. So we'll definitely do that. I think I just got a text message from my co-host, so let's see if – I knew I forgot something, so let's see if I can do that real quick. So hopefully – we get some good conversation tonight. We want to, include everybody, of course, when we talk about some of our sports teams. Now, one thing I do want to mention, because we haven't done it yet, we've been a little bit behind this year. We're going to be talking UGA. So one of the things we're going to start doing, because we've been doing it for years, we talk all our Georgia sports teams, which means all the other college teams as well. Okay, so if you are an alumni of one of the college teams, whether it be Albany State, Georgia State, Clark, any of the teams that are in the state of Georgia, even if they're in the ACC, I guess we'll talk about Georgia Tech. I really don't want to, but we got to. We'll talk about it if you like. So make sure you do that as I stall for a second and make sure I get this email over to, I knew it was something I forgot. I've been so busy today. Let's see if I can go ahead and get that in there. And not quite. There we go. All right, there we go. That's my fault. 646-652-4479 is the number. By the way, I almost forgot. This is another way I could stall a little bit. Don't forget, if you have never watched the show before, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can get a notification of the next show because we broadcast our shows live, I should say. But if you can't watch it live, let's say you're at work, you want to listen to some past episodes, things of that nature. If you are a subscriber to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Amazon Music or Google Podcast or Spreaker, Blog Talk Radio, I believe we're on Apple iTunes. You can call up Alexa. I found that out the other day. Odyssey has all of our shows up to show 115 for some reason. Not sure why it only goes up to that high. I'm not really sure. But you can check us out on pretty much all the platforms as well. So you can also follow us on Instagram, IMTM Worldwide Radio. Twitter, mine is Intellect ATL. Jordan is Mr. 23. Jordan 23 ATL, and the IMTM Worldwide Radio Twitter page is IMTM Radio. Make sure you go check that out. And make sure I let him know. Emailed it. One of the downfalls of having to do all what I have to do is kind of busy sometimes. Here's Jordan. Let's see if we can get him in there. Mr. Jordan, what's going on, man?
What's going on, sir? Give me a second.
Yeah, I was telling the audience I actually did forget something tonight, so I'm glad you texted me because I've been so busy trying to get everything together. I did neglect to send you the links. My bad, sir. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody because we've gotten to that point now. Mr. Jordan Jackson, go ahead.
Well, yes, sir. Happy to be on talking about our Atlanta sports teams as usual. I want to give a shout out to all those in Atlanta sports Twitter, Hawks Twitter, Falcons Twitter, Braves Twitter, Dream Twitter, all of our Atlanta sports fans out there. But I did want to make a quick correction on the Twitter account. It's just Jordan 23 ATL. I didn't put the Mr. on it.
Did I say Mr.? My fault.
You did. It's all good,
It was
sir.
the email. I had just emailed you, so that's what that was. I knew it didn't sound right, but I said it anyway. So
it's all good, sir. Just want to make a quick correction on that, just so anybody out there who may want to give a follow can do so. There it is. Right. But yeah, man. Busy time is always in sports. You did mention a quick something that happened in the NBA today, which is interesting. That it doesn't involve our Hawks, but it affects our Hawks. So, with that being said, sir, there's so much to talk about. So, let's get to it, sir.
All right, so usually we would start with one particular team, but I wanted to kind of start a little bit different tonight just because Saturday is what it is. So let's see if I can find it. That being said, that's who we're going to be talking about over the next couple of minutes. So let me go ahead and see if I can hook y'all up with a little intro here to start the week off right. Let's see if I can find it. Now, of course, I can't. There we are. All of a sudden, I can't find it. All right, so can the University of Georgia go back to back? Do they have enough to make that happen? This is going to be something that we're going to get to see live because, again, how long has it been since we won a national championship? It's been a minute. But now that we have one in the books, can we win again? Can we win again? Can we do what some of these other teams have been doing, some of the legacy teams that are out there? We get to find out and see what this team can actually do. So that's why I wanted to start off with UGA since we're playing the Oregon Ducks this Saturday. So Jordan, as the college football aficionado, go ahead and tell us your initial take in regards to this game, why it's a big deal. You know, first of all, UGA is ranked 3. So I'm already upset about that craziness right there, whatever. But go ahead and tell us your first thoughts in regards to the upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably my first thought. Is I've always thought that the defending champion should come back ranked number 1 the following season. I don't see how you could try to look at a team's roster and just because this many people went to the NFL, you know, or whatnot, that you can automatically try to rank a team, especially rank a team behind the team that they beat in the national championship game to start off the season. As far as the game goes, though, Oregon is ranked number 11. What's very interesting about this matchup is the former Georgia Bulldog defensive coordinator, Dan Lanning, is the head coach of the Oregon Ducks. So you got a big time familiarity there with the coaching staffs. You know, so it's one of those, you know, I guess teacher versus pupil type matchups like what we have when we go against Alabama, except we're on the other end of this one with him coming up through Kirby's ranks. And so I think, you know, I really don't know, to be honest with you, sir, with it being the first game of the season, it's very hard to get a feel for things. One of the opening questions you asked is, does UGA have enough to go back-to-back? I will say absolutely we have enough to go back-to-back. One of the things, you know, when myself and a lot of the other Georgia fans, shout out to my guy Jamie Goodman, who's been on the show, who was right with me on all of that, you know, we were ready to move on from Mark Richt because it seemed like we were just stagnant and weren't getting to the next level. And so one of the things some of the Rick defenders as well as the non-Georgia fans told us was, well, you can't get rid of Mark Richt. If you get rid of Mark Richt, your recruiting might fall off. And let me tell you, sir, it's been anything but the case with that. Kirby has recruited at even a greater level than Mark Richt did, and Mark Richt recruited well. And what you're seeing is the fruits of that. And the good thing about it is a lot of the young players you'll see starting for UGA that maybe didn't start last year, most of those guys will be guys that got snaps last year as Georgia rotates quite a few players in, particularly on defense.
646-652-4479 is the number in regards to the people who said Mark Richt would take all of our, you know, recruiting away.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Thank you, DJ Khaled. Appreciate that. So let's go over the first couple of games for UGA just to, you know, kind of give people an idea of what we're facing just to kind of start the season off going from September to October. Of course, we're playing Oregon Ducks, number 11 team in the nation, this Saturday, 3:30. It'll be a huge game. First game of the season at home, obviously. And then, of course, the famous Samford. We got to play them. We just have to play them. Just have to play them, I swear. Anyway, that's next Saturday. We get to play South Carolina. That's going to be a lot of fun because, they actually are the best team in the nation, obviously, right? We play Kent State right after that, September 24th. And October 1st of October, we don't know a time just yet, but we play Missouri. And then right after that, we play Auburn. So those are the first few games of the season. I just can't see we even coming close to losing any of those games. I just don't speculate it. I believe Kirby has these guys ready to go. I mean, again, you have the incentive of the fact that you're defending national champions. And then it's the SEC involved with that as well. So I just see those first 6 games right there. We should be 6-0, and we should be higher than 3rd place, hopefully, in the nation. Hopefully by then, we'll see how that goes. I don't think they really even start messing around with rankings until past that, probably closer to November or late October, I guess. So by then,
for the actual college football playoffs, it would be around the beginning of October. Yeah, where they'll start doing the rankings. I mean, as far as that Oregon game, as far as them not coming close to losing any of those games, I think if there's anyone to be close, it'd be that Oregon game. With it being such a big matchup early in the season, but I mean, I'm still predicting the Dogs to win the football game. I think it's going to go either one or two ways. Either Oregon is able to get some big plays, because it's hard to move the ball just up and down the field on Georgia, but they'll hit some big plays. You may have a busted play or two early in the season from some of the newer guys, maybe some of the safeties or linebackers, since we did lose a lot of NFL players at those two positions. And if that happens, then maybe Oregon will hang with them and UJ will wear them down late. Or UJ may blow them out. Like, that'll be those are the two possible outcomes that I see in that particular ball game. But I do think the Dogs will win the football game.
Now, just for our fans out there who might be watching, hopefully they are watching at this point, 646-652-4479. If you're a UGA Bulldog fan, definitely call in with your take on the upcoming season during this segment. With the players that did return, is there a player in particular that you're looking forward to seeing what they do in this particular season to be one of the catalysts that helps them hopefully get back to the championship game? Anybody in particular?
On the defensive side, it's the defensive lineman, Jaylen Carter. I've talked about him over and over again on this show. I do think he's going to be a top 5 draft pick in the NFL after this season. So I'm looking to see him get off to a good start against a good opponent, being very disruptive and creating a lot of pressure. On the offensive side of the ball, he's not my guy, but we do have to acknowledge the quarterback is back. The mailman, Statavius.
A haircut, boy, I tell you.
Statavius Bennett. But the guy I'm looking at on offense is the tight end Brock Bowers. Okay, and really the tight end group as a whole. I mean, obviously we know the line is going to be key, but I'm not really concerned about those guys. I've heard they've responded really well in camp, of course, from my inside source, Mr. Jamie Goodman. And so I'm looking to see what Brock Bowers could do, because Brock Bowers was absolutely incredible as a freshman. He was the best tight end in the nation, in my opinion, this past season, even as a true freshman. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can take another leap on top of that and just be some kind of unguardable cyborg out there that's just shredding defenses all game, every game.
646-652-4479. I just know I'm excited, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year, but I'm hoping that this is the year I finally get to go to a game, because I still haven't been to one yet. Things just never really transpired. Of course, me living where I was living at the time, I don't know. It just never came up, but I'm hoping that this will be the year, that I get to, go to Athens, just experience everything, be around the campus, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm hoping on that. I was going to ask another question. I just went blank as far as that goes. Any other final thoughts in regards to UGA? I'm trying to type something for the fans out there online.
I think this is a big year for the Dogs because when you lose a record 15 players to the NFL draft, if you're able to come back that next season and still compete and still be in the SEC title game and possibly still make the college football playoffs or even go back-to-back losing that many players, that will be the final, I'll say, sign that this Georgia football program is here to stay and that we're on our way to being one of those teams that's in the mix every year, just like that team over there in Tuscaloosa that seem to be a little bit upset with us right now.
They're going to have to be all right. I was going to say they're all right, but they're going to have to be okay in this particular case. Nothing they can do about it. 646-652-4479. Now, as the night progresses, if you call in late or tune in late and you want to continue to talk about some UGA, you got some thoughts about favorite players to watch out for, surprises that you're thinking about, any games in the upcoming season that we hadn't talked about yet. We only really kind of browsed the first 6 games. Feel free to call in or message us on the message board there on the YouTube channel. Feel free to do that as we get ready to go to our next segment real quick. Now, I'm doing these segments surprise-like because I didn't really plan this out tonight as I had planned to. So Jordan should know what we're about to do next.
Do you know what kind of woman you have to be to rise in an all-male run, all-male controlled, all-male executed, all-male domain, all men all the time? Do you know what kind of woman you have to be to survive, not only survive, but to thrive and to gain their utmost respect, their utmost regard, to gain the admiration of not only the men you work with, but everybody who encounters you? Do you know what kind of woman you had to be in 1980? You got to be powerful.
Thank you, Ms. Oprah Winfrey. So indeed, Rhyne Howard, WNBA Rookie of the Year, representing the Atlanta Dream. That's a huge accomplishment. We got to give her some, what is the phrase? You got to give her flowers. The girl balled out this year. She did her thing. I mean, and again, this is to the people who do not hate women. They love their mother. They love their wife. They love their daughter. They love their auntie. They love everybody that is a woman in their family. If you love women and you support what women do, support this big sport that we have called the WNBA because it matters. Okay. And that's why I have her picture up for the first part of this segment a little bit, just to let people know who she is. Because there's still people out there who don't even know what she looks like, which is crazy. So that's why I went on and posted her picture. So let's take that down now, because everybody will think she's actually in the show right now. There we go. Hold on. Let's see. I'll take off Jordan as he had a little bit of a mishap there. But Rhyne Howard, WNBA. Actually, you know what? She is due some applause here. Let's give her a round of applause real quick as Jordan gets everything fixed up there. Because it's not just the fact that she won Rookie of the Year, it's also because she represents an Atlanta team. You know, you would want to support that hardcore, you would think. You know, so let's talk about that a little bit on Around the ATL, 646-652-4479. I see Jordan is almost, there he goes. I think we're good. Jordan, you're back.
Yes, sir. Having a little trouble with this phone over here. It's technical difficulties. I may have to go back to that.
I'll put you back. All right. So as he's getting everything together there, let's see. I think actually we have a caller. So let me go ahead and bring our first caller in for the night. Good evening. Go ahead and give us your name and where you're calling from.
Good evening. This is John Harris.
What's going on, Mr. Harris? How you doing tonight?
Pretty good, sir. Pretty good, sir. I just got off another little show over there on Facebook there, and I said, man, I got to stop in tonight with you because I've been missing a couple of your shows that you had. So hey, I'm here. I'm here. What we chewing on tonight?
Well, we We just talked some UGA at the very first of the segment, where we just kind of slid right into Miss Rhyne Howard winning WNBA Rookie of the Year for the Atlanta Dream. We were going to talk about her doing that. Not so much the season, but this, what she's done and how we basically have a reboot of this team now. If you remember, about 10 odd years ago, we had somebody else called Angel McCoughtry, who really, took the league by storm. She did a lot of good things and 2 Olympic gold medals, made this team very competitive, but she's no longer here. And we know what we've had the last couple of years, where it was just kind of like a dark times in Atlanta as far as the team goes. But we know now that between ownership, management, everything, coaching and stuff like that, we have a lot of new faces there, and she's one of them. And her winning Rookie of the Year definitely proves how good a player she is and putting, the Dream back on the map, possibly as far as being competitive again. So we just wanted to mention that, make sure that we acknowledged her, because like I said, we're doing a full show tonight, so I'd like to always do the team. So that's what we're doing right now, John.
Oh, well, that's good. And, it's nothing like having a player on your team get an award like that draws positive attention to the team. You get people looking at, and if you have someone that good as a rookie, they're on the team, you got eyes looking over there and say, hey, I might want to play over there with her. And they will start to pay attention and track her career and say, hey, I might want to go over there, and help her out or help myself out by being over there with her,
It's big to be able to attract players. I mean, we're seeing, these playoffs going on right now. I wish we were in them, but you're seeing some amazing play, between Seattle Storm, Sue's going out, you got Candace balling out of control out there. Candace Parker is killing it right now. And so we're hoping that we get to see the Atlanta Dream in these playoffs over the next decade plus or so. And hopefully we can finally get a championship. We've been there, been close, but we haven't won. So I'm just excited about that. Jordan, your thoughts?
Yes, sir. First of all, John, how you doing, sir?
Man, how you doing, boss? I'm holding on.
Yes, sir. That's all we can do is this day and time. But before we get to other sports, I know we're going to chop it up about some football here in a minute. I do want to hit on Rhyne Howard. One of the things I think was special about the fact that she won Rookie of the Year was not only the fact that she was an Atlanta Dream draft pick, but we traded up from the 3rd pick to the 1st pick to select Rhyne Howard. And, her winning Rookie of the Year certainly validates that decision to trade up and go after her. Some numbers for Rhyne Howard on the season: 16.2 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists per game, shot 34% from three-point range. Of course, we know she's out of Kentucky, 6'2", but more of a perimeter player, so she has great size for a guard. Moves very well without the ball. And I do just think the sky's the limit for her. Now, I know you said we weren't really hitting on the season, but I have to make mention of it, Chris, that the way the season ended was a little disappointing because they had an opportunity to get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
but that does put them in the draft lottery for the WNBA. Now, if somehow, some way, those ping pong balls go right and they can wind up with the 1st pick and get a Leah Boston, or just a high pick and add another high-level talent to Rhyne Howard, I think this team will be on its way. If they get Boston, they're winning 7 championships before it's all said and done. If they get her, but my final point on this is, and what I really love the most about her winning the award was right after it was announced that she won the award. You saw a Players Tribune, the Players Tribune, with a lot of the players, speak their mind through that particular media outlet, player-driven media outlet. But the article came out by her saying, y'all haven't seen anything yet. And, the whole gist of the article, she basically talked about the season and, was happy to win Rookie of the Year. But what she said is, the work she's about to put in, that this is just the beginning. And I do think she's correct about that. But to have a player with that attitude, with that mentality, kind of reminds me of Trey with the Hawks when you talk about that type of mentality. I think it's very refreshing. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the big things that Rhyne Howard, the WNBA Rookie of the Year, does going forward, sir.
646-652-4479. And hopefully, we have some ladies who will start calling in as we, do our segments, because we've been including the WNBA since we started around the ATL. And I made it a point to do that because they're a professional franchise in the city. And there's a lot of men that think they can play ball and they can't play against these women. They just can't. They talk a good game. You can't run up and down with these ladies. You can't. Just stop it, okay? The ones who did play, Division I, and some of them semi-pro, yeah, you might be able to, but there's a lot who just think they in LA Fitness and they think they're going to take someone. No, you're not going to do that. So that's why I highlight the ladies. They've been around for 20 plus years now as a league, and there is some great basketball to be watched when you watch some of these games. And again, they got their own place to play now in Atlanta. For years, they were just vagabonds out there. It was just terrible. But now they got a permanent place to play now. So definitely next year, this coming season, definitely make sure you support them, okay? 646-652-4479. Now, John, can you stay around? Because we're actually about to take our first break of the night and then come back and talk some Braves. And I don't know how long you're available, but we will be talking Falcons the next hour. So just wanted to know, what your schedule for the night is.
Oh, man, I'm semi-retired. Man, shoot, talking to you will keep me awake a little bit longer.
Appreciate that. All right, so let's do this. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We're not going to go away too long. We're going to come back and the Atlanta Braves has played a game tonight, and we had some real special things happen on that field. So we definitely want to talk about that. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is Around the ATL on IMTN Worldwide Radio. Y'all don't go anywhere, okay? And of course. All right, we are back. Around the ATL on IMTN Worldwide Radio, 646-652-4479 is the number. So, of course, I want to talk a little baseball. And, tonight was a really, really special night. You had the Braves win 3-0. And Mr. Strider, 16 strikeouts as a rookie. When was the last time you saw that happen? Mr. Riley hit his 33rd. Mr. Harris won his 14th. So, and by the way, Mr. Jansen did get the save tonight. He did get the save. But we want to talk about that bullpen a little bit. We've had a couple of outings that were, kind of here and there. That's why I got the picture up right now, where, he blew that save the other night, and then he had a save, but he gave up 2 runs in getting that save. And Snicker, of course, he said, well, he blew the save the other night, and then he bounced back and got a save. But I'm like, he bounced back with 2 runs given up to get the save. Now, tonight, he did get one. So the question tonight is, will this bullpen be anywhere near as dominant as last year's bullpen? And do we need to see that sooner than later? Because we can, use the example. Smith was kind of last year, he was like this, and then he was solid through the rest of the way, but also was the rest of the bullpen too. So we're going to compare. We can try to compare both bullpens and things of that nature. So we want to talk about that, but we definitely also want to talk about the fact that we got some young men on this team that are basically carrying us right now. So the other question I do want to ask is, in regards to our young guys, could Harris and Strider share Rookie of the Year possibly? Is that something that can go down? Because really, a lot of our upturn happened when Michael Harris got on his team. And then when Strider came out the bullpen and became a starter, that definitely helped us out there because, again, we've had some little issues there getting some starters in there, right? So that's another question. So let's talk about the bullpen first. So Jordan and John, since you're on still, appreciate that. What do you think about the bullpen? Do we have a right to kind of be worried just a little bit, or are we good?
I do think there's a little bit of cause for concern. I mean, lately we've been seeing almost everybody give up some runs, here and there. Now, I don't quite blame AJ Minter as much because for some reason we decided to pitch him for 3 consecutive games for the first time in his career. And so he had been lights out prior to that. So I think maybe he may be all right. Matzik has looked pretty good lately, but these other guys, man, Yates and Dylan Lee and Jackson Stevens, they've been giving up some runs when they've come in the ball game lately. And so, I think this team is fine. Obviously, they're a playoff team, but we still want to try to win this division. And the main thing is when you get in the postseason, having a shutdown bullpen is key. So, and I can't recall his name right now. I don't have it pulled up, but the guy we got from, I want to say it was the Angels, the relief pitcher. To me, he's probably been, the most solid one here recently because Jansen has been very shaky. Now, having a good friend, shout out to John Weaver, who's originally from California and follows the Dodgers. I'll tell you that he goes through those spells from time to time where he just doesn't have it and he's shaky, but he usually comes out of it and rights the ship. We know, he's not a spring chicken anymore either. Father Time is undefeated. So I'm hoping we're not seeing the breakdown of Kenley Jansen. As you said, he did get the save tonight without problems because he got the save last night too, but he just barely held on. I mean, from a 3-0 lead to 3-2 before finally closing the door.
It wasn't cool. It wasn't
right.
Cool.
So I do think they need to tighten up and right the ship. Maybe, as September rolls around, which is here now, we can get some call-ups in, and who knows, maybe another one of the younger guys will come through in the bullpen. But outside of the bullpen, everything has been pretty good, and I know we're going to get You're talking about some of the younger players that are carrying us here in a second, but it is a slight cause for concern. So they need to tighten it up.
646-652-4479. John, what's your viewpoint on the Braves bullpen right now? You know, do we have cause for worry? I mean, because to Jordan's point, I believe the Braves do want to win this division. I just don't think they want to relinquish it to the Mets. The Mets will never let us hold. They will hold that above our heads for the next 20 years that they won the division, even though they'll still not win the World Series. But I just, feel that we can win it. But do you think the bullpen could be the downfall as far as that goes? And then possibly even in the playoffs, as good as we are, could it come down to the bullpen and everybody else has somebody that is dominant, shut down? You don't have no hesitation. 1, 2, 3, you're out. What do you think, John?
Well, now that we have DH all the way across, ain't no excuse. Mr. Pitcher, you don't have to worry about going up the bat. Okay, so all of you in that bullpen need to be working on your craft. And yes, it is a concern because every time I always go back to this line that I see in Major League. Last game of the season, Cleveland against the Yankees, and he coach goes out there to the pitcher. Harris, you think? What you feeling like? Skipper, I done thrown everything. Jump guy can across the plate. So when that pitcher gets tired, you got to have somebody come in there and relieve him and take it on home. You got to have that. Especially now because all right, you're playing in the regular season. When you go into the playoffs, the competition level rises exponentially. Then when you go into the league championships, then when you go to the World Series, you playing the best they got over there, they playing the best they got over here. So that bullpen, if it's shaking now, if it's skipping now, hey man, we holding on and we're hoping that the run support can keep us out of a situation where we need the bullpen. We're hoping that if we got a 5-0 lead, bullpen not gonna give up 6 runs or something.
I don't know.
See that's where we are. As far as I'm concerned, that's where we are.
And see, listen, I think really, it's not even that. It's the decisions that come across sometimes, because are we trying to win the game or not? There's certain sports where you might want to say, okay, we're going to shut everybody down. Like in a basketball game, you're getting blown out by 20 points. You're taking out the starting lineup, right? We're not coming back from that. It's 5 minutes to go. We're chucking it in. You're not supposed to do that in a run game when you have the lead. And that, I think, is just it was just like Darth Sidious from Star Wars. It was just like, you're really going to let this happen, aren't you? And we watched a run lead dissipate all the way through. Nobody's up in the pool. It's like he don't got it. It ain't happening. Let's get somebody in there and stop this. We have the lead. And all of a sudden, you got a man on, and here's a hit, and here's this, and here's that. And all of a sudden, 2 runs have scored. And it was like, we just watched that happen. We were all forced to watch it happen together, right? And then, just like Jordan alluded to, we have a save from the other night where we have the lead again, but then here it is, 2 runs and score, and it's just like, when is the decision to say we got to stop the bleeding? We got to be prepared for this. This is what's been happening. I need to be prepared for this. It might not be needed, but I need to be prepared for this. And I think that's what really is worrying me personally, because yes, we will end up in the playoffs, but again, it's a matter of how do you get into the playoffs? Sometimes that momentum part of it does come into play. And as well as we've been playing, like those last 3 games against the Mets this year, literally might mean the division or not. That's how it's looking right now, and I don't want to give up any more games just because. I guess that's where I'm coming from. I don't want to just be giving up games anymore. If we get beat, we get beat. But I want to get beat with the best that you can. You know what I'm saying? Because like we're not going to always score those runs, right? Even though we got a great offense, it's not always going to happen. So we shouldn't have to be reliant on that. We should be able to, like tonight, Strider 16 strikeouts. Can you imagine what would have happened? 3-0. All of a sudden, it's 3-3. Okay, I'm just saying it didn't happen tonight, but
thankfully,
you don't. That's not a start that you would have wanted to have wasted there. A great world beater type start. So that's what I'm kind of concerned about. And like I said, I think this is a little bit different than last year when we had Smith struggling like all get out, and then all of a sudden right the ship, and all the way through the playoffs was one of the most dominant pitchers ever. I think this is a little bit different because this has already kind of been happening already. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting as far as that goes. Any final thoughts between the two of you before I turn to our rookies?
Well then, what I was going to say was then Nate McMillan needs excuse me. I'm sorry.
Huh?
Sticker needs to take the reins and have somebody up there warming up. You know, it doesn't make any doggone sense. Like you said, it doesn't make any sense for you to sit there on your hands, nobody up, you know, and then, you know, there is this little train of thought that people have sometimes. Well, if you put somebody up, that's just letting the man know that you don't have confidence in him, that he can't handle it. Look.
Too bad. We're trying to win the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're trying to win the freaking game. Look, son, if you're not doing it, I got to pull you out of there and put somebody in there who can do it. That doesn't mean I don't have faith in you. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to put you back in this situation again. But hey, if you've been messing up. You've been messing up. You're throwing watermelons instead of apples across the plate. Look, you can't get yourself together. I'm coming out. I got to do it. You know. And see, Nate makes it. I mean, I won't let y'all go on, but that man name kicked.
First of all, John, you got some heck of some country sayings, man. First of all, but second of all, you went exactly where I was going to go. In my opinion, a good manager's job is not just to root for the players. A good manager's job is to, you want to inspire confidence in them at times, but a good manager can tell them, look, my guy just ain't got it today. Let me go and get somebody else warming up. And it was one particular game that we lost. I want to say we were up more than one run. I want to say we were up 2 runs. And there was no reason that after when the game was tied off of Jansen, somebody else wasn't in the ball game at that point. You know what I mean? But you know, it's that old school Bobby Cox. I'm the player's best friend. I'm loyal to the players. It's the same. Mark Rick had the same thing. Dan Quinn had the same thing. You know, that I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm their best friend, and they might not like me no more if I embarrass them by pulling them out in the middle of while they're struggling. And you know, that's something I've wanted to move away from. You know, especially here in Atlanta. I mean, I know Bobby Cox is a beloved figure. You know, I've been there live when he's been ejected from the game and everybody chanting, Bobby, Bobby. You know, that was all well and good. But, you know, let's keep it real as we do on the show. 14 division titles with only 1 world championship to show for it is underachieving. You know what I mean? And so for the longest, I've wanted to move away from this underachieving, I'm everybody's BFF type coaching or managing here in Atlanta, but we just haven't seemed to do that. Had Gonzalez, you know, who was
you're not supposed to say that name, man. Come on. What in the world?
I didn't say the first name, but who was a Cox disciple, you know, and now you got another Bobby Cox disciple here in Snit. Now, we did win the World Series last year, so I understand he's going to be here for a while, but he's going to have to tighten up with some of his decision making, because John went exactly where I was going to go in terms of just the frustration of that not wanting to, what he just said. That's how people say it as well. You don't want to take away their confidence. Like, no, you can't be everybody's BFF. And I know we'll talk Falcons here later, but, that's one of the things somebody was talking about, and they said on Twitter, there's nothing right now we can say that says Coach Smith is better than Quinn. And technically that's true. You can't compare 1 year to several years, but I already like about Coach Smith his demeanor and the fact that he's more concerned with accountability than being the player's best friend. So that right there puts him off to a decent start with me.
646-652-4479. That's why I led off with that, because I'm like, how can you just watch that happen and be cool with that? Like, they kept putting the camera on him, and he's just like, he's not even looking at the bullpen, is he? Coach Nick, he's not looking at this is going to happen. We're going to really watch him lose this lead when we had the lead and we were going to win this game. And I'm like, we're trying to win the game or not. And again, we do have the World Series, and you got to give Snick the credit he deserves as far as that goes. But we know we were underachieving those years prior to that World Series. And I'm just hoping and praying that it don't happen after that with, Double A locking up all this new talent and everything. We need to have like 5 World Series. And I don't want it to be where the team is being held back because of his propensity of doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's where it worries me to death. And we've been seeing it a little bit this season. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping this is just a little blurb that, we can get over, and, we're going to find out, sooner than later probably. But I do want to talk about our rookies a little bit. I kind of hinted it a little bit. Can Michael Harris and Spencer win Rookie of the Year together? Strider had 16 strikeouts tonight. He was dominant. He was John Smokes type dominant. He was dominant, right? Nobody was touching him. He was like, we get this guy in the World Series. He's another guy along with Max. Yeah, ain't nobody touching you. So do we look at it from that standpoint in regards to these young men? Because again, without these guys, we wouldn't be where we are right now. We might be 10. We would be permanently 10 games behind, really, if it wasn't for these guys. When you really look at it, along with Kyle, I think he has 17 wins now. Think about that. But do you think Michael Harris and Spencer have a shot to win Rookie of the Year together? And if not, which one of them wins it? Because I think one of them has to win it. I don't think it's a question at this point. But who would it be? Who would you lean to? But could they win co-Rookie of the Year?
I think the right thing to do would be to give them co-Rookie of the Year. But obviously, it's just going to come down to the tally of all the votes. And if it comes down to where one of them get one more vote point than the other, then that will be the Rookie of the Year. I do agree with you that one of them has to be Rookie of the Year. And to put that performance in perspective, sir, that 16 strikeout game for a rookie is tied with several players for the 6th most strikeout in the game in Major League Baseball history by a rookie. And we know baseball game is hundreds of years old. It's the oldest of our major sport. And that's 4 strikeouts behind Kerry Wood, who struck out 20 in the game. And some of the guys he's tied with, notable names people would know, would be another Kerry Wood game that year, would be Hideo Nomo, who everybody remembers how he came in his rookie year. And Dwight Gooden also struck out 16 twice in 1984 in a game. And that's one more strikeout than Roger Clemens ever had as a rookie.
Oh, wow.
Who struck out 15. So also one more than Hall of Famer Bob Feller as well. So, just want to put that in perspective on how great a performance that is for a rookie pitcher. Man, I don't know which one of them wins, to be honest with you, because both of them are outstanding. I think it just comes down to whether the voter weighs pitching versus a guy that's out there playing every day, and in particular providing great defense. Does it all, really. Hits the ball well, has speed on the base pass, has provided some power. Michael Harris has, from a lower in the order spot. And I do also want to give an honorable mention to Vaughn Grissom, another rookie who has played outstanding since being called up. Now he's cooled off a little bit more as of late, but for a while it was really him and Harris at the bottom of the lineup that were really creating a lot of the havoc and really the catalyst for a lot of the runs the Braves have been scoring. So the Braves have been blessed to have 3 guys who are just outstanding rookies on this ball club. And I do, before I pass it on, want to make one correction. The relief pitcher's name that had eluded me was Bracel Iglesias, who we got from the Angels. He's the guy who I'd like to see us go to more in high leverage situations. For some reason, Snit seems like he likes to use Dylan Lee more in later innings. And even Yates, who was just getting back and was put into some games, we were up just a few runs late innings. Meanwhile, Iglesias, he's pitched quite well since coming over here. ERA of ERA in 10 innings of 0.84 since coming over from the Angels. And a lot of people may not know this, but he was also a closer in Cincinnati. He's had seasons. He has a 28-save season, a 30-save season, a 34-save season. And
but
then
he can't get no playing time, though.
Right. Then another 34-save season in 2020-21 with the Angels. So three of 28 or more in Cincinnati, and another one with the Angels. And so I don't understand. And he's pitching well. Why aren't you trusting him more in your late inning high leverage situations and using guys like a Dylan Lee when we're up like 7-0?
10 ERA. 10 ERA. Just put him in there, though. You trust that, but the guy who has 0.082, don't put him in. Crazy. John, any thoughts in regards to the young guys before we close out this segment, this top of the hour?
And I'm just going to ask this question before I say what it is that I have to say about that. Did you guys notice any media bias or trepidation of being mad from the media, as across the entire country, that the Braves won the World Series last year?
Oh, you mean the other night when they talked about the St. Louis Cardinals the whole game, as if the St. Louis Cardinals were defending world champions? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I noticed that.
Okay, I'm gonna put that to the side right there as a notable point. But
I'm just saying.
I mean, when the Braves won the World Series last year, when we won the World Series, the days afterwards, was it kind of like they really didn't want to talk about it? They really didn't want to say anything about it, but since it was baseball, and baseball is America's team, and this was the last game of the 2021 season, did y'all keep a little animus?
I did. That's what I'm saying.
Some of it.
I watched the Fox Sports broadcast. I watched the ESPN broadcast. It's palatable. You could cut it with a knife. That they do not want. They want to do everything but talk about the team that's actually on the field that actually has the ring, and I don't even know where it's coming from, truthfully, but it's there. It's definitely there.
I caught some of it, but to be honest with y'all, like I got a low tolerance for that stuff, especially when we're sitting here celebrating the championship. I just, I've gotten to the point where even in a lot of these games, if I am watching it, even if I can't get everything synced up quite perfectly, I'd rather watch the TV and hear our guys on the radio, hear Ben Ingram and our guys, doing the game on the radio. Because, I just enjoy hearing it from our guys' perspective. And it pains me to say this because I love John Smoltz. John Smoltz is my favorite Braves pitcher of all time, my favorite baseball pitcher of all time. I know Greg Maddux was great and Tom Glavine was good, but in the playoffs, Smoltz was the winner, the guy with the most wins because of that power pitching style. And then the couple of years he was a closer, he was just lights out. But when it comes to being a baseball broadcaster, him and my guy David Pollock, UGA, he has a tendency to do this too. They try so hard to prove to all these other fan bases out here around the nation that they're not biased for the team they played for. Braves in Smoltz's case, the Dogs, in David Polley's case, that they end up being biased against that team unfairly. You know what I mean? And it ends up jading their view too far the other way. And, I just want to, let those guys know when they listen to this, because I'm sure they will. But you don't have to be that, man. It's okay, to show the team you play for some love, especially when they are actually good. You know what I mean? Really good. And in fact, in both teams I'm talking about, they're actually reigning defending champions. Both of them are. You know what I mean? So show those guys some love. Stop picking, David Polley, stop picking Georgia not to go to the college football playoffs. You know what I mean? Just won't stop getting on there talking about how good the Mets are, okay? Because I promise you, the Mets fans, they still hate you, regardless. You know what I mean?
There's a player, I forget I forget who it was, but there was somebody who didn't want to give Georgia any kind of props so much that in the Final Four, they got Pittsburgh in the Final Four. They got Pittsburgh in the Final Four of the college football playoff, just so they can say that, okay, Georgia ain't going to make it. That's how desperate it is sometimes. So, again, it's just the audacity sometimes where they're willing to go off the rails to be like, okay, I used to play for this team, but I'm going to let y'all know I didn't really play for this team. I don't have any bias. And like Jordan said, they go so deep with it, it hurts the credibility a little bit. Because it's like, did you see what I see? What are you talking about, right? But anyway, it's gonna be very interesting how the Braves, wrap this up. Going into October, we got 30 days before we hit those last 3 days. By the way, anybody who wanted to try to get Mets tickets, it's been way too late for a minute. They're all sold out. So, because I tried to find one. So you're gonna have to watch it on TV, but it should be a nice little show. I want to finish up this segment. Oh, go ahead, John.
Oh, yeah, but, I asked that question because, I was still wanting to answer your question.
Oh, go ahead.
I asked that question, to get you guys feeling, to confirm the feeling that I had as far as what the national media is thinking and saying, and they're having to swallow it whole, and they don't like it, And the problem is with that, if you got two good prospects like we have, that we've identified tonight for Rookie of the Year, how's the voting going to go? Are you going to try to find anybody and everybody someplace else instead of giving one or both of the Atlanta Braves players their due props as the Rookie of the Year? And the way that I'm seeing, and the way that I'm hearing, and the way that I'm being influenced to feel, I think it's going to be some mess. It's going to be some mess that's going to disqualify you. There's a name going to come out, and everybody, they're going to bam the halls of Cooperstown down because of the fact that Rudy Poop won Rookie of the Year. I didn't think it. Just not to give someone the break. That's the way I'm feeling.
That'll be a shame if that happens. I swear that'll be messed up. How much hatred can you have? I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised just from what John's saying, but when you really look around at other rookies, I just don't really see the next best rookies in baseball. Quite a few of them are all American League players. You know what I mean? So. I don't see how they could do it, but if it's a way they could do it, I'm sure they'll try. You know what I mean? Certainly, but I don't know, man. I don't know who to rank between. I mean, Strider's just so outstanding. We can depend on him every start. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of missed him out of the bullpen as early in the season. He was coming out throwing well over 100 miles per hour. When he could just give it his all for one or two innings, and so I'd like to have 2 or 3 more of him. You know what I mean? Some of which to put in the bullpen. But at the same time, when Michael Harris was brought up and inserted into the starting lineup, that's really when his team took off and started playing great baseball. Prior to that, early in the season, we were kind of back and forth around 500 most of the year. His defense has been key. He has made catches to save runs. He's made plays where he cut off balls that most outfielders would have been able to get to. and got the ball back into the infield to save runs. He's gunned guys out of the plate with his arm and save runs. So that's tough, man. That's like asking somebody to pick who their favorite child is or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard thing to do, sir.
Yeah. Well, as we end this segment, because we're kind of running overtime just a little bit, since we're going to mention some people coming up, we know we got Izzy and Soraka coming back too. So can't forget about those guys as well. So that will help out a little bit as far as the team overall. So, all right, 646-652-4479. We're about to take a little bit of a break as we go into the next hour. We're going to be talking Falcons football. So, John, if you can stay around, I know you got some thoughts on the team upcoming. So definitely everybody hang around. This is Around the ATL on IMTN Worldwide Radio. Y'all don't go anywhere.
You are listening to Around the ATL with Chris and Jordan. We'll be right back with more Atlanta sports talk.
What's going on, everybody? This is Chris on Around the ATL as I try to get my... There we go. How is everybody doing on Around the ATL? 646-652-4479. We just had a great first hour of the show. Talking Braves, talking Atlanta Dream, and Rhyne Howard winning Rookie of the Year. And, of course, we started the show actually talking UGA football. This second hour, we're going to talk about some Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk about some Atlanta Hawks. We're going to throw in a little Atlanta United as well. And then we're going to finish up talking anything that y'all want to talk about at 646-652-4479. Now, usually I would start with the theme song for our Atlanta Falcons, but we don't have time tonight because we ran a little bit over. So that being said, I want to go ahead and kind of start with our first topic. Initially, what do you think of the Falcons' 53-man roster? We know cuts were made recently. We also have, practice squad as well. So who do you think, shouldn't been cut? And do you think our practice squad is okay? So let's go ahead and kind of, get started as far as who we know is on the roster. And I'm going to go through these kind of quickly. And Jordan and John, y'all can kind of, chime in after I'm finished. But I wanted to do this for the audience. We got, of course, our quarterbacks. We got Marcus Mariota. We got our rookie Desmond Ridder, all up in there. At wideouts, we have Bernhardt that made the team, Demary Bird, Brian Edwards, Cordero Hodge, our rookie Drake London, and OZ is back again. Let's see if I can find the running backs. Here we go. Running backs. We got Mr. Tyler Algier. If I'm mispronouncing that, sorry. I'm kind of tired tonight. We got CP back again, who wanted to be here, of course. Keith Smith, Mr. Avery Williams, and Damian Williams at running back. Now, one of our controversial positions, offensive line. You have. I got to take the banner off to make sure I can read all of this. So let's do that real quick. Make sure I can do that. We got Mr. Drew Doberman, Matt Hennessy, Mr. Afidi, Chris Lindstrom. His brother is available out there right now. Jake Matthews, Jaylen Mayfield, Caleb McGarry, and Mr. Wilkerson is on the team at this point still. And to continue on our positions, let's go ahead and go to the defensive side of the ball. Let's see if I can start with the defensive linemen. There we are. We got Mr. Marlon Davidson, Mr. Tyquan Graham, Timothy Horn, Grady Jarrett, of course, Anthony Rush. And our linebacker core, we got Troy Anderson, Quentin Bell, Lorenzo Carter, Mr. AK is on the team. Rashawn Evans, Deion Jones, Nate Landman, and D'Angelo Malone. Let's go to cornerbacks, I believe. No, we'll go to safeties first. Richie Grant, Eric Harris, Jalen Hawkins, Dean Marlowe. We definitely want to see what Jalen Hawkins brings to the table this year. I'm missing the cornerbacks for some reason. I thought I had them. I guess I don't have the cornerbacks here. Let's see. I guess I missed that. So specialists, you got Mr. Young-Ho Koo, who'll be kicking our field goals this year. We got McCullough and Pinion as our specialists as far as the kick team. For some reason, I'm missing cornerbacks. Jordan, do you have cornerbacks for us, sir?
Yeah, I do. In fact, I was just pulling up the roster, looking at the roster here on the old trusty tablet here, which all of a sudden wants to load slow as soon as you come to me. But we know we have A.J. Terrell at one cornerback. One of the guys who I was most impressed with in camp, Dee Alford. He's a cornerback who also made the roster. We know we have Mr. Isaiah Oliver is back with the team. Mike Ford, one of the cornerbacks. Casey Hayward, who will be the other starter opposite of A.J. Terrell, and also Darren Hall, who we drafted last year. So those are
appreciate that. I don't know how I missed the cornerbacks. I guess I don't know how I missed that. So on the practice squad, we do have some players that were re-signed after they were cut. We have Justin Schaefer from UGA, obviously, Caleb Huntley, Derek Tangelo, Jordan Brailford, Matt Hankins, Tyler Vrabel, Ryan Newsell, and Frank Darby is on the practice squad. And I believe also kind of last minute, let me see if I can find them real quick. We also signed, was it Fritzer? I believe it's pronounced. He also was signed recently as well. So he's on the practice squad currently also. So
the tight end,
Anthony the tight end, correct? Yeah, he got signed as well. So he's on there. So of course you want to have depth. So that's another way to have depth, to where if somebody goes down and or somebody doesn't really play that well, hint hint, Mayfield, hint hint. You have some people who might be able to get called up. So Jordan, John, so where do you stand? Where do you feel in regards to the roster overall, as far as the players, where they're going to be, put in a position to succeed, hopefully by our great coaching staff? How do y'all feel about, where we are right now?
I guess just real quick, first I'll say, I mentioned Dee Alford. He was a guy who I was happy to see made the 53-man roster. Some of the guys who I was a little bit surprised to see cut. Maybe Jordan Schaefer a little bit, but to be honest with you, I said it during the draft that I didn't understand why we didn't take the other UGA lineman that was still there, Jamari Sawyer. He did make the Chargers roster. He only gave up one pressure the entire preseason. In fact, Jamari Sawyer was the guy who neutralized the number 2 overall pick, Mr. Hutchinson,
yeah,
that plays for Detroit. He didn't do anything against UGA.
Pancake.
First time we played him, he went right by Jake Matthews in the very first preseason game. And so I don't understand why the Falcons did not take him over Justin Schaefer. But at least Schaefer is still on the practice squad with us. I thought Caleb Huntley played really well in the preseason, but we just had so many running backs. Same thing for Quadri Allison. I was kind of surprised that they moved on from him. Also, I thought that offensive lineman Tyler Vrabel had a chance to make the roster as well as an undrafted free agent. The one guy, well, it's more than one, but the one guy who I named, who I wasn't surprised he got cut, was Frank Darby. Okay. Frank seems like a good guy, a lively guy, so I don't mean this as a major disrespect because I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but in a way, he's almost like the Tech McKinley of offense in terms of he does a whole lot of talking. He's a lively character, but the production on the field just hadn't translated. And so I was glad to see the former rugby All-American, Mr. Bernhardt, make the roster over Frank Darby because I think it was the right decision. Go ahead, John. I won't name everybody.
Now, I want you guys to go back to when you guys were playing football, basketball. You just lost a big game to Chugga Suds University, and this is the first practice after that game. And sideline, Coach and already trying to be quiet, and you got a whole folk on the sideline kicking and laughing and joking around. Coach done had enough, and he tells you you need to run 3 laps around the whole school campus just to get that smile off of your face and get your mind right about the assignment that's coming up the next week. That's what I'm feeling about the coach that we've got and Frank Darby. Okay? It's okay to be jovial at certain times. It's okay to be joking around, whatever. But it's time to go to work, son. It's time to go to work. You came off of a season that was, better than we expected, but nowhere near what we wanted. All right? You all on TikTok. I'm looking at this, whether it's the Atlanta Falcons joke book that the people are organizing at the Falcons complex. And I kind of blame them for it because they're interviewing people coming off the field. Who's the funniest guy on the team? Frank. Ooh, that Darby boy and all that. And the thing is, stuff like that gets you a reputation. And you might not want it to have earned it, but you got a reputation that you jokester. You play around me. You're the one that's playing all the doggone time on the team. Okay? When your back is up against the wall, just like that head coaches, just like that general manager, just like those position coaches, just like those water boys, just like your fellow teammates. Because this team that has been put together, this is another shopping excursion at Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and at the Army Navy store. Okay? You did not go to all of the big stores to get what you got. You got a box of puzzle pieces that you don't know how it's going to fit. That's what you got right now. All right? Kudos to the coach for winning 7 games last year. But according to the people that compiled the schedules or whatever, that team last year, that schedule that we had last year was one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. This one this year is one of the hardest schedules in the NFL this year. So with this first New Orleans game, you got to hit the ground running. Now, the 53-man roster and the practice squad is in a state of flux because we still going and grabbing folks. We trade people. And this is going to go on because I think this is going to be the new state of the Falcons now. You know, hey, if you mess up on Sunday, you liable to be cut Monday.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, and see that's yeah. Chris, you're absolutely right because the thing is, there is no complacency. There is no room for it. There is no leeway for it because all prior to this, everybody was entitled to a spot. You the starting quarterback, you the starting cornerback. But this can change from week to week, day to day. And that's what they set up. That's what they set up. And it is refreshing and it is good because some accountability is here. And I told this story on the last show that I was on because I remember a saying. I know some coaches might have said it, but I remember Carol Shelby saying it one time. He said, do you know the difference between involved and committed is? Have y'all ever heard this story?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay. You know what the difference between involved and committed is? If you look at a plate of ham and eggs, the chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. For the pig.
That's true.
He gonna lay another egg tomorrow. You know, if they don't cook it. But he gonna lay another egg tomorrow. But that doggone piece of ham right there, that pig is in it for the duration. Okay? And that's what I sensed that Arthur Blank said about Darby. You're not involved. I mean, you're not committed to this. You got to get committed. And this is what this man is demanding from everybody there. All of these messed up plays that they run and they celebrate and all that, high five and all that. Look, well, wait a minute. What are y'all celebrating for? Even if you got the 2 yards, you need 10. Get out there and do it right, you know. And do you see how I think it was the second half of the Jets game. No, right before halftime of the Jets game. You down there at the goal line and can't get in. Oh man, he went, man, look here. That man went up one side, down the other, and came back.
Well, if you remember, he had them running laps last year when they messed up. And a lot of people was up in an uproar with that. And I'm like, because think about some of the players that have been there for such a long time. There's never been any discipline on that team to where if you messed up, there's going to be something that happens. You got people who, I'm not practicing. What do you mean you ain't practicing? Oh, you know what? You don't even really need to be on this team. And you know what I'm saying? And again, it's a matter of that matters on a team. You know what I'm saying? If somebody knows that somebody really actually is in charge and that you may or may not have a job in a couple of hours, you play a little bit different. Your effort has to go up a couple of notches at that point. So I think on the competition side, I think we have instilled that. The biggest thing, and I guess I'll say it like this, is that the team has an identity now for this last year and a half. Now they didn't have the previous 6. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is going to be a matter of how that plays out in the future. But I think we're on that we're on the verge of definitely on the upswing, obviously. Now, whether or not we win 9 games like I predicted or not, we're going to find out. I'm just saying, I'm that person. We won 7 games last year, guys, with no talent. We got better talent this year. I'm just saying. Hey, guess what? I do want to play this little clip here. I don't know. Well, the audience, I'm about to play a little bit of the highlights from the previous game. You'll be able to hear it. And the guys who are actually watching, thanks for everybody who's been watching, dipping in and out on YouTube, and who will watch it later on IMTN Worldwide Radio on YouTube. But I'm going to go ahead and play this. And Jordan, go ahead and I'm going to play maybe 2 minutes of it. And John, you might be able to hear some of it Give me a second. I'm gonna cue it up now. And of course, that's the wrong one here.
They'll start under center. Algier in the backfield on first down. He throws over the middle, and that one is picked off. Not the start you wanted. It's going to be Daniel Thomas on the interception. Daniel Thomas, third-year player out of Auburn. Let's take a look.
Yeah, good clean pocket there. Had plenty of time.
And that kick low, and it's good. Rolling out, Ritter gets a block. And he's going to run to try to get a yard, and I think he will.
Always friends, always cracking each other up. It's been that way since their days when they were housemates at Penn State. That song, by the way, Tombstone by Rod Wave. They'd be known to sing that song at all hours of the night, waking each other up.
A big completion to Tim.
So I just wanted to play a little bit of the clip of the Jacksonville game. I didn't want to play too long of it because I hadn't figured out how I can stop it and start it and whatnot. Ritter did start that game with an interception, but then after that, he had a great drive that got him a score. He looked decent. He did throw 2 interceptions that game, though, unfortunately. But our defense, and that was our second team defense. And that's what I think I'm most excited about is that, again, last year, Dean Pease did not have the horses to run his defense. He said it from the very get-go. He's running maybe 50, 60% of what he wants to run because we don't have the dogs to do it. Now, we definitely do because they were saying that the whole game in that Jacksonville game. Look at these stunts. Look at this. Look at that. They're doing all kind of stuff out there that they weren't doing last year, and we were getting stops and they were consistent. So that's what excites me as far as that goes. Plus, with our cornerbacks as they are now and as they stand, you don't have people wide open making bacon pancakes, getting wide open, anymore. I just don't think that's going to happen. And so I think we're going to be competitive on that side. And we have a better running game, definitely, than we had last year. Like almost no matter who we had at running back this year, whoever was going to get cut and stay with the team, we were going to be better than having Mike Davis on our team last year. It's going to be different. So that's why I'm excited about that. Now we're going to have to see how the wide receivers pan out at the end of the day. That's going to be very interesting, as far as, we know Bernhardt made the team. We know OZ is still with the team. Drake London, he hasn't played since he's been hurt. So we got to see, is he going to start game 1 or not? We're going to see. Of course, Patterson is in there. I think I still disagree with maybe not having him just go ahead and be full-time wide out and just having an extra running back on the team, whether it be Caleb or Allison possibly. But again, I think we have a whole lot more skill pieces than we had last year to where no matter what the record is, I think remember, our schedule was easy last year, but you still got to win the games, okay? And we were in the games last year. We just didn't have enough talent to close out some of those games. We could have been a 10-win team last year, technically. Really, when you think about it, we lost a lot of games by 1 score. So I think if we brought that mentality this year with some extra pieces, I think we can be competitive. But that's just me. But like I said, with our 53-man roster that's set, and even like I said, John's saying we're going to have some flux, in regards to who's in, who's out. I just think that this season, can be exciting. I'm hoping to maybe, get to some of these games this year. Hopefully we'll see how it happens. I haven't been to a football game in a while since all the stuff has been happening last few years, obviously, but I'm looking forward to this season for sure.
Just recently, the Falcons did place a bunch of guys on injured reserve, including Deion Jones, Isaiah Oliver, Marlon Davidson, Jaylen Mayfield, and John Fitzpatrick, of course, of the world champion Dogs. They re-signed defensive lineman Abdullah Anderson, linebacker Nick, Kwiatkowski, offensive line Colby Gossett, and they claim offensive tackle Chuma Edoga and defensive tackle Matt Dickerson off of waivers. Now, Edoga is former Jets third-round draft pick in 2019 out of University of Southern California. He's listed at 6'3", 308 pounds. So it'll be interesting to see if he can provide, some competition and some spark on the offensive line, in particular some competition for Caleb McGarry, who I was quite surprised that he wasn't pushed harder, but the guy we had coming in behind him, he didn't really look any better, in some of the preseason games going against second unit guys. He was giving up pressure. So that's something to watch there. Now, like I said, Idoga, he has 12 career starts for the Jets. And Matt Dickerson, his former Tennessee Titan, went to college at UCLA, and he started 18 games for the Titans over 3 seasons, most recently 10 games in the 2020 season. So, like I said, a couple of new guys coming in there, 6'5", 292-pound defensive end / 3-4 defensive end type player there. As far as what you guys were talking about with coaches go, it goes back to what I was saying last segment when comparing Coach Smith to our Braves manager is I love the fact that he does care more about accountability than being the player's best friend. Like John talked about, when things didn't go right in the preseason game, you could see the anger on his face. You could see him pacing up and down the sidelines, wanting these guys to get it right. Meanwhile, had that been our previous coach, it would have been a lot of hand clapping and, saying, it's okay, guys, embrace the suck. Embrace the suck, guys. You know what I mean? Old Sergeant slogan. You know what I mean? So it's refreshing. I think obviously, 1 year is not enough to be able to tell if Coach Smith is going to be the guy that's going to be here, 10, 20 years. It's going to take us to a Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, just the demeanor, the way he does hold players accountable, that's a very positive sign for me as far as that goes. I thought an interesting name off those injured reserve guys I just listed off was the fact that Isaiah Oliver went on injured reserve. If I'm not mistaken, I think these guys, I know they're going to miss at least a couple games, maybe the first 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to tell you something. This kid, Dee Alford, he is a player, man, in the preseason. And, when I ask people like, man, where did he come from? Tusculum College, a small school in Tennessee, right? But he is from Griffin, Georgia originally. So he is from, this area, Georgia kid. And it just goes to show you that even in this day and age where we have the internet, we have all these cell phone videos, advanced scouting, social media, that a kid like this can still slip through the cracks, end up at Tusculum, go to the CFL, and is now on the NFL roster. I'll tell you something, guys. If Isaiah Oliver don't hurry get back and this kid misruns and makes his way onto the field in regular action, Isaiah Oliver may be out of a job, gentlemen, because I like what I saw from this kid.
You can't stay on the field enough. You can definitely lose your job. That's why I was looking at Marlon Davidson. I'm kind of surprised.
I'm surprised he's still here.
I'm really shocked about that. So
I think he made it just because they knew that they could put him on injured reserve. You know what I mean? I think had he come back and been healthy right before the end and not been able to go on injured reserve, they would have had a decision to make, because I agree. He was one of the guys I was looking at. Was surprised, of course. We saw Jaylen Mayfield went on injured reserve, and he was another guy that I don't understand why they didn't just go ahead and cut bait with this guy. I mean, from what I've seen, this guy is not an NFL football player. I mean, he is a turnstile. Guy just come right on through.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I ain't said it in a while. He's a bum. That's it.
I can't say any more than what makes it so bad when you look at the Raiders cut their first-round draft pick from last year, number 17 overall, Alex Leatherwood, because they just felt like he just can't play. Then I don't really see what
we do it.
Right.
We holding on to? Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you just got to look, my bad, guys. We messed up. We took this guy. He can't play in the league. And sometimes you just got to move on, because the man has already stolen quite a few dollars from this organization, sir. And I can't believe he's about to be allowed to steal more.
646-652-4479. John, any final thoughts in regards to the Falcons' upcoming season roster? Anything that you would like to mention before we go to the next segment?
Well, all of the pundits, all of the examiners, all of the quote-unquote experts, the ones who know hawk's flesh better than me and all that type of stuff that work for the Atlanta Falcons have compiled and put together a 53-man roster as well as a, backup roster, whatever you want to call it. Now y'all belong to me. Just think, you belong to me now. And your performance is going to be judged by what you do on the field on September 11th going forward. I'm not going to be nice. I'm not cutting no slack. I'm not giving out any freebies because you people have been identified as 53 of the special folks, the special ones that are getting paid bukus of money for a game that I used to play for free in representation of this city. Now, there's no way that you can be cut any slack. There's no way that I'm going to say, oh, you get it better next time and all that, like the present regime was always doing. No. This costs too much money now. Those $35 walk-up seats that we used to have when the Georgia Dome opened up and the free ones that we used to get at Atlanta County Stadium, that thing's gone. We in the big leagues now. And the ownership recognizes it too because of the fact that $38 million in PSLs were forfeited year before last, if I'm not mistaken, if it wasn't last year. Because people do not have, look, this is not Green Bay, this is not Minnesota, this is not
Kansas City.
Cities up there. Yeah, this ain't Kansas City or one of those cities up there where if it snows too hard, okay, the only thing you're supposed to be doing on days like that is either sitting at home, going to church, or going to the football game. All right? We got too much stuff good to do down here in Atlanta to be paying for some junk, to be embarrassed. We got so many things to do in Atlanta, man. And until I semi-retired, I didn't understand. I read about it, I heard about it, and sometimes, Chris, in the past few days, I was looking at the various things that you were saying that you used to do or whatever. Unfortunately, you can't do them anymore because stuff has gotten so crazy. But see, the thing is, man, there are things in this city that's just jumping all the time. Now, why would I miss out on some pancakes at the Pancake Social and waste my time down there at the Dome for 4 hours, handcuffed, because I overspent for tickets, parking, food, drinks, to see a product on the field that's subpar. That's embarrassing. That's humiliating. See, that's over with. Y'all got to come with it. And every Sunday, this is what I'm going to expect. I'm going to expect maximum effort out of these people that you select. That's why I am with it.
Yeah, it's an investment, and you can't take that for granted. And I think really, unfortunately, Mr. Blank really kind of took it for granted for a period of time. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, but before we move on, I do want to say, I think the quarterbacks have looked pretty good. You showed some highlights of Desmond Ritter there. I thought his ball placement, with the exception of the picks, was quite good the last couple games. I thought it got progressively better every game. Because the first game, even though we came back and won, he threw quite a few passes like behind guys, to where they couldn't get the ball and turn up field. And I also thought that good old Hawaiian Island boy, Mariota or Marota, as they would say it, I thought he looked better in the second game he did in the first game too. Because I'm gonna tell you something, sir. That first game, he looked like he was so happy to be back out there playing football. But I saw him out there trying to run over defensive linemen and all that stuff. Now, I hope he's gotten that out of his system. Because I'm going to tell you something, sir. Week 2, we play the Rams. And if he decides he want to play
I have Felipe Franks out there.
Yeah, if he decides he want to try to truck guys and run over guys, we'll be seeing Desmond Ridder in week 3, okay, as the starter. All right. His career as a starter will be short-lived if he tries that. So, we're seeing some promising stuff, Chris. I can't go 9 wins with you, sir. I'm sorry. I think maybe we can match 7 again. Maybe. I mean, I do think we've upgraded in some areas, but I'm not convinced that either one of these 2 quarterbacks is an upgrade on Matt Ryan by any means, even though Matt Ryan is not the same Matt Ryan he was, in our Super Bowl year. And so,
well, here's why I say it. Here's why because I said this in April that we were going to win 9, even at the point after Matt was gone, because I always said look at what we won 7 games with. If we was to add some talent around Matt, we would be better just by default. Now, whether or not Mariota can hold up because he doesn't have the greatest injury, history of all time, obviously. And if it came down to if you put Ridder back there, if you have talent around them, can they succeed? Can we do something on defense to where we really actually stop people? It's not the bend and break anymore. It's actually, we're going to stop you now, and then also if you add the running game, if you saw some of those highlights with Ridder, of course, we got play action again. We actually really have play action because why? We actually got guys who can hit the hole and go somewhere now. So be totally on the quarterbacks a little bit. So that's why I say in totality, I think we have some pieces to where, everything has to work and has to work all the time. But if it does, I think we can win some of these games. So that's the only reason I say 9.
A mobile quarterback definitely helps the running game just because you have to keep somebody home on the backside, so that's an additional cutback lane opened up for the running backs. I give you that, but and maybe you're right, Chris. I hope you're right, but maybe I'm just jaded because I watch these other preseason games. I'm watching Jordan Davis throw guys across the field. I'm looking at the fact that the other guy who I would have liked to have had in the first round, if not Jordan Davis, Charles Cross. He allowed, I want to say, 0 pressures. He was one of 3 rookie linemen to allow no rookie tackles to allow 0 pressures in the preseason. And and here we saw what our first round pick played for 1 pass. He caught 1 pass in the first game and got injured. We hadn't seen him since. Obviously, it's not his fault, but I just don't understand why we don't continue to, do better in the trenches. I do like some of the pickups on the defensive line, which it would include the pass rushers like E.B. Ketty, like a Lorenzo Carter. But it's the fact that we got the same offensive line, you know what I mean? But with what I consider lesser quarterback, that's why I just can't go to 9 with you. So I guess I'm gonna say 6 or 7. I'm still stuck between 6 and 7. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, sir. John, your thoughts, sir?
646-652-4479. John, give you the last word. We got to go to the next segment, sir.
I said 4 and 4 and 14.
Oh my!
4 and 13.
4 and 13. Oh my gosh! Well, I'll tell you what. That'll get you Will Anderson or Jaylen Carter or one of those top quarterbacks. That's what that'll get you.
Yeah, they're 4 and 14 with now we 10-point underdogs in the bye week already. So I'm saying it's 4 and 14 because there's just so many unknowns with a pile of mismatched puzzle pieces on the team. That's where I am with it. Because man, that offensive line, the people that they pick to stay, no, you better have Grady on standby with the ambulance and just have a plot down there.
I am worried about that. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, I am worried because again, Mariota does not have the best, history with injuries, and as Matt kept getting up. You got to give it to him. He's only missed 3 games his whole career. He kept getting up. I don't know if Mariota can keep getting up like that. And even in that first game, Ridder was getting popped a couple of times too. So it's like that.
Now, I will say, when Ritter was in there, he had Mayfield blocking for him. So the good thing about it is Mayfield, at least he's not starting. I don't understand why he's on the team, but at least, they got Elijah, what is his name? Wilkerson starting in his place. But it's just still hard for me to fathom how we just did not put more into upgrading that unit. And until we actually invest on those trenches, man, it's going to be tough sledding because, all of the play action looks nice. Now, one thing I will mention real quick that I like that I saw is we used quite a bit of pistol set in the preseason. I'd like to see more of that in the regular season because it gives your quarterback a little bit of space in the gun, but with the running back behind him, you still got all of the same running plays and play actions that you have under center that you can run. But, until all of that's cute and it's nice and it's exciting, but football is still won most often when it comes to being able to win up front, being able to run and stop the run, being able to pass block and get the other team's quarterback.
Yeah, all the legacy teams over the decades, that's what they've had. It works. There's nothing else you can say. It works. So, all right, guys. So I got to do this real quick because we're kind of running out of time here. So I'm gonna do this segment like in 30 seconds. So there's Mr. Joseph Martinez. They split their last 2 matches. Right now, the Atlanta United, the 5 Stripes, are 3 points out of 7th. I say 7th because I really need them to get the 7th because if they're in 8th, they're probably not going to make the playoffs because they're going to fall out somehow. So I need them to go ahead and get in the 7th place somehow in these last few matches to make sure they actually can make the playoffs at all. And then hopefully somehow by a miracle, they look like they can be competitive because right now, they're just scrapping by right now. So hopefully Atlanta United can get off the snide of and then start trying to win some matches consecutively. They don't need to just be winning points. They need to be winning matches. And they looked good the other day, and then they got trounced yesterday 4-1. So I don't know how that happened like it did, but it did. So I wanted to go ahead and just make sure I mentioned Atlanta United because, again, this was a full show tonight, but running a little bit behind, so I wanted to go ahead and get that out. Jordan, a quick note of any kind before we go to the last segment, which is the Atlanta Hawks.
No, sir.
Just thank you. Appreciate that. All right, so I had to get them in there, though, because I like the team and I want them to do well, but, it's been a lackluster season for sure for the 5 Stripes. So the Atlanta Hawks, so the schedule has been out for a minute, obviously, and tickets are available. So I want to kind of go over the schedule for those who might be going to some games this year. Hopefully, everybody is at least 1 or 2. Definitely, you were supporting the team and watching them. So I'm gonna mention it by myself. I will be at the game October 21st with the Orlando Magic. So look out for me for there. I'll be eagerly awaiting to see how that matchup goes with Mr. Paolo out there, the rookie, number 1 rookie. In November, I will be at where is it at? I can't find them now. And now, unfortunately, that the Cavs, and we'll talk about that a little bit, that changed things just a little bit. But in November, okay, there it is. I'll be at the Boston Celtics game on November 16th. So look out for me there. In the month of December, if I can find it. And for some reason, December is not showing. Okay, December.
Is that the Sixers we played 3 times in the same month right there?
No. Oh, yes. Actually, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough little stretch right there. In the month of December, I'll be at the Lakers game going into the new year. I don't know why I don't have the December map up here, but oh well. In January, I will be at the Knicks game, the New York Knicks, first game of the year for them. In February, I will be at where is it at? I believe it's going to be not the Suns. No, the Suns. That's right. I'll be at the Phoenix Suns game. And then in the month of March, and of course, March is not up here. I don't know why. I thought I had everything full. But anyway, I know I'll be at the Golden State Warriors game. I'll be at the Minnesota Timberwolves game. I'll be at the Philadelphia 76ers game.
I think you missed one in January. Didn't you say ML King in January?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So let me see if I can pull that game up, because these are some of the games I'll be going to. Hopefully everybody will be out and about. I get to see some of the fans and things of that nature. That's why I'm throwing it out there. I will be in Atlanta, quite often coming up. And the reason I picked these games as well is because it's just easier for me to go to these, but these are the games I want to go to. Although the Laker game, folks, is very expensive. I'm just go ahead and tell you, okay? Oh, January is the Miami Heat. We get to see them. And then Minnesota, Golden State, Memphis. I'm going to see Memphis in March as well. And then Dallas and Philly to finish up in April. So I'm very excited about this upcoming season. What games are y'all wanting to go see? 646-652-4479. Let us know. Also, of course, don't forget the chat line on the YouTube page. I'm not seeing too many people on there. I saw a couple of people at the beginning of the night. But are there any games? Now, of course, I guess we can go ahead and talk about this Cavs deal that just happened recently with Mr. Donovan. I don't know if it moves, things for a lot of people, but Donovan Mitchell is now a Cavalier. Or should we be worried about the Cavaliers now too? That's going to be a tough lineup, of course. But that just happened, today. So the East is very look. The East are the beast now, right? It looks like the tide is turning in regards to the Eastern Conference versus the Western Conference now. Just a little bit. Even though Golden State won the championship, I think the East had a little bit better conference really last year. So what do y'all think as far as, some of the games coming up for the Hawks? Are there any other standouts that y'all are looking at competition-wise, player-wise? Of course, all the games I mentioned were home games. So any games that y'all interested in this year?
Well, first of all, from what I heard from the last little pro-am tournament they played in, DeJounte and Paulo squashed the beef, which I'm like, no, don't squash the beef. Let it simmer to the regular season so they can build it up, man. Like, what are you guys doing here? Okay. But before I go all into the house, you mentioned the Donovan Mitchell trade, and I just wanted to run down the details of that. The Cavs sent forward Laurie Marketing, rookie wing who was just recently drafted out of Kansas, Ochai Agbaji, and guard Colin Sexton, who was part of a signing trade, along with 3 unprotected first-round picks, 2025, 2027, and 2029, 2 pick swaps, 2026 and 2028, unprotected as well, for Donovan Mitchell. It's a very interesting deal, sir, because it does make Cleveland more dynamic. Colin Sexton was a good ball player, but Donovan Mitchell is a far better scorer, great attacking guard. Going to be interesting to see how he and Darius Garland are able to gel, a lot like Trey and DeJounte. Now, I do think that we got the better fit for us because of DeJounte's ability on the defensive end. But offensively, that duo in Cleveland is going to be tough to stop. Now, people say, well, they're going to get killed because they got 2 smaller guards that aren't good defenders. Yeah, but the 3 guys that are going to be starting beside them is Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, who's an outstanding defender, as well as Isaac Okoro, who's an outstanding defender. So it's going to be an interesting thing. Now, they don't really have a lot of depth with Kevin Love and Karis LeVert as their only 2 really, good bench pieces. So maybe that'll be a way we can get to them. I expect the Hawks will finish with a better record than Cleveland does, but they're going to be a beast when we play them head to head.
Yeah.
They're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
And so now, one final note on that trade, I think the absolute best part about – wait, 2 final notes. One, I do agree with you, Chris. The East was the stronger conference, the more deeper conference last year, and it's just gotten even stronger. We don't want to hear anything about the West. Well, he plays in the West. We don't need that anymore. Y'all need to be saying about the East because the East is now the stronger conference. But the best part, last percent of that East, about that trade is the fact he did not go to the New York Knicks and the Knicks fans are in shock.
Jordan, looks like you went out a little bit there on your sound. I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, something's wrong with your volume. As Jordan kind of see if he can fix that, John, go ahead and interject as far as what you feel in regards to the upcoming season.
Well, this to me is another situation where, now the Hawks situation, I'm going to say, surprisingly, is a little bit more unsettled than the Falcons situation is. And I'll tell you why. See, after 2020, okay, after 2020, we think we was on our way. We were thinking we were ready to go. But when we came back this year, wait, I'm getting confused now. Yeah, well, 2020, 2021. Yeah, when we came back, we were taking the season for granted, as evidenced by some comments that our young superstar point guard made. That coupled with what else was it? The COVID situation, people getting hurt. We stumbled, bumbled, and rumbled into the playoffs, having to go through the play-in in order to get to the real playoffs. Everybody was happy, but if you pay attention to how you lose, you got to pay attention to how you win too. And when you win in a fashion that backs you into a situation or backs you into the next game, it's kind of like you really don't need to be there. Okay? Because same other rules that kept you from being number 2 seed or number 1 seed are the same things that are keeping you or put you in a position to get knocked out in the very first round. And the way that we showed up against Miami, it was as though they did their homework and we didn't.
Yeah.
We changed nothing. We didn't change anything about what it was that we did last year. And thought that was going to get us over. And even, to get us over with one of the main calls hurt. You couldn't lob that ball to Collins because Collins, that joint in his finger, man, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he was playing in pain when he came out to play.
Yeah. Also plantar fasciitis to the foot as well.
All right. And Jordan.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I said also, I think he also had plantar fasciitis injury of the foot, and I really think that was the bigger issue as far as the lobs go. I think the finger affected the jump shot more, and that's my concern coming into the season. I would feel much more comfortable about him if he was in that, finishing role, because bad finger or not, he can still throw it down and still finish at the rim. But I think the plantar fasciitis in the foot is what really kept him from attacking. So I certainly agree with you, John. But I will say, don't underestimate how many boxes DeJounte Murray really checks off for the things he does and how they match up. He didn't do well.
You still with us, John?
Yeah, I thought that was dinner time. I'm getting ready to go.
No, sorry about that.
No. But like you guys say, and the reason I brought up the finger, do you notice every time that he dunked, he was shaking his hand?
Yeah.
Now the plantar fasciitis, you're absolutely right. Man, because I had that, oh my goodness. I was trying to walk on the side of the foot, the inside of the foot, the heel, and there was no comfortable way to walk. I had to shut it down. Until it got better. But I was noticing, once he got on the floor, and he was trying to play, whenever he would dunk, you know how John Tyler likes to try to pad off the backbone. And every time that he would dunk, he would put his hand down in there. And, the younger people, when they dunk and grab the rim real quick. I had to hit my wrist, back of my wrist, or front of my wrist on it, and put it down there.
90 seconds.
And every time that he would, dunk, it would hurt him. And see, thing is, too, I've said this for the past 4 or 5 years, and Leroy Knight knows it, and so does Chris Royce. I said this. Little men, guard, y'all need to go to the shooting camp. Big men, y'all need to go to a larger one. Because, see, you got to
60 seconds.
You got to be personal. Because, see, now, Glenn Capella, with that old flicked jump shot, or that flicked free throw shot he got, I'm telling you, Chris, I'm going to be behind somebody's bench, and they're going to throw me.
It might be me too this year. It might be me too this year. I'm spending some major cash.
That don't make no sense when you making all that money and you can't get a free throw with that old flicked shot that everybody lets you get away with. That's the crazy thing. They let you get away with that. Man, no. And that's my pet peeve.
Even
one time I had to jump on Johnny Childress.
10 seconds.
I was sitting up there laying the ball up as high as you could jump. Man, come here, son. Next time you go down there and you tear that thing off the back, but you want me to come out there and show you how to do it? No, don't keep seeing me. Get down there. And man, he dumped on Diego Dollars in this place. I jumped up there. That's what I'm talking about. Keep doing that. He had old flick the jump shot too. But that's what I'm saying. And Nate McMillan. Now, Nate is going to have to take some fines. Nate is going to have to come up off that bench. All of that head holding and all of that chin rubbing and all that type of stuff while your team is out there getting disrespected. That's got to stop.
Yeah.
That's got to stop.
Yeah. So as we get ready to end the show, I do want to mention a couple of things, and maybe next week or whenever we have our next show, we'll do a little bit more Hawks talk as far as that goes. But I do want to mention this on the free throw side of things. Even Tim Duncan got better at free throws. You got to take some pride at a certain point and hit those. Again, whether or not you learn a jump shot or not, if you're in the league for 10 years and you still can't hit a 10-footer, there is something wrong with that when you're making $15 million a year. There got to be something to that. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I don't care what size you are, I don't care how big your hands are, you need to be able to hit a 10-foot jump shot. You don't got to hit threes, but you got to be able to hit a 10-foot jump shot. You got to be able to do that. And then you got to be able to finish at the rim. When you're 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, and you still missing bunnies and things of this nature, that's an issue when you got one of the best point guards in the league getting you the ball, and then you still can't finish. That's a whole nother story. But like I said, you got fans in the stands that are going to have expectations this year for sure to make up for last year. And so you got to have a coaching staff that is going to be willing to adjust, willing to do what's necessary to put people in the best position and let the players do what they do. Because if not, we literally could lose 39 games again this season. We really can. It is possible. Okay. So we got to hope that there's a change as far as that goes. Because otherwise, I don't want them to waste another season of Trae Young, who just led the league in the points and assists. That's crazy, right? I don't want to see that happen again because last year was a waste for all intents and purposes. So, Jordan, go ahead with your points because we're about to end the show.
Right. What I was saying before my voice cut out was the best part about this Donovan Mitchell trade is that he did not go to the New York Knicks. And if you want to see some real comedy, go off social media and look at reactions to Knicks fans when they heard Mitchell was headed to Cleveland instead of to the Knicks. It is some comedy gold out there, fellas. I'm telling you. Everybody listening, ladies and gentlemen, please do that for me if you want to laugh. Go check that out. The other last final point I wanted to make was, and like I was trying to say in regards to what John was saying, and he's absolutely right. But I think some people aren't quite understanding how many boxes DeJounte Murray really checks off. Okay, we had trouble guarding quicker guards. DeJounte Murray excels at guarding quicker guards. We didn't really create a lot of turnovers, getting the passing lane a lot. That's one of getting in the passing lanes and just straight up stealing the ball from people is one of DeJounte Murray's greatest attributes. We didn't have a secondary ball handler. Now we got another 9-assist point guard as our secondary ball handler. We only had one All-Star. Now we have 2 All-Star players. And so, also didn't have enough feisty, want to get in your face type guys. We got another one because DeJounte is that type of guy. And to what John was speaking to as far as complacency, I think having a guy with that fire who wants to win like DeJounte wants to, I think he will help, get on some guys and keep us from being complacent like we were last season. And so, like I said, I think a lot of people around the league are not quite understanding how big of a pickup this was. And I do think it will be a great fit. My one thing concerned is I hope it doesn't take us too long to gel because we cannot keep getting in the holes and having to try to dig our way back into playoff position. So that being said, sir, that's all I got. And so I'll do my sign-out part of it. I want to thank everybody out there for listening. Certainly enjoyed the conversation. John, as always, thank you for calling in. Last but not least, I want to thank God for giving me this breath that I breathe to talk about these Atlanta, these Georgia sports that I love.
John, thanks for joining the show tonight, sir. It's been a while. Make sure, John actually y'all has been one of our, long-standing listeners. So we always appreciate his input and try to get him in, as we can, to join us on the, a half regular basis at least. So John, thanks for being on the show again tonight, man.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me, George. Y'all take it easy, and we'll catch up with you whenever we catch up with you.
Take care, John. Also, shout out to Jamal Price, Originator Brand.
Appreciate it. So everyone, that's the show for tonight. Again, we plan on doing a little bit more regular. We wanted to start the month off right for getting the show in. Again, the Falcons are about to start their season. The Hawks are about 30 days away. The Braves are about to finish up their season. So we got a lot of sports to, talk about over the next couple of months. UGA, of course, their first game is coming up. Shout out again to Rhyne Howard for winning Rookie of the Year for the Dream, WNBA. Hopefully the Atlanta United 5 stripes will, help us out, do a little something to kind of finish out this year as well. In the meantime, make sure y'all do follow us on the YouTube page, IMTN Worldwide Radio on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. You can also follow on Instagram, IMTN Worldwide Radio. Make sure you also follow us on Twitter. I'll go ahead and post that up as the show ends up. Intellect ATL is mine. Jordan 23 ATL is Mr. Jordan, and also the IMTN Radio page on Twitter. That being said, we're going to get out of here. Y'all take care. Until next time, this is Around the ATL on IMTN Worldwide Radio. Y'all take care. Peace. And of course, I always do this, and I can't find it all of a sudden. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. I'll just do this. I'll do a different song. Here we go. This is the problem with doing live radio, folks. Here we go.